So the dots might be confusing you. Where it gets a little bit tricky for people is when you have things like dotted quarter notes and dotted half notes. So on the left hand, it's all dotted half notes. Whenever you see this dot, that just means you add half of the note value. Half of the note value gets added. So we know that this is a half note normally because it's just an open note head and we have that note stem, right? So that's normally a half note, but because now we have that dot next to it, we have to add a quarter note. Because remember, going back to this example, we have the half note and then half of that is a quarter note, right? So add these together and that equals 3 beats. Now, where it gets tricky is if we go down to measure 9, you have dotted quarter notes and now you have eighth notes and you have the eighth notes joined together, right? So how will we count this? Well, we know that this is a quarter note, so normally that is just 1 beat, so 1 and, right? But then we also have a dot next to it, which means we add half of the value. So half of a quarter note is an eighth note. So normally this would be 1 and, right? Because remember, we have to include the ands. So 1 and plus the dot means we add an eighth note. We add half of the value, half of a quarter note. So now we have 1 and 2. 1 and 2. That's everything. 1 and 2 is all included in this dotted quarter note. Then 1 and 2 and would be an eighth note. We just have the and piece. Then we're back at 3 and then we're back at 1, right? So don't get confused. We know the quarter beat is 1 beat normally. The dot next to it adds half of a beat. So now we have the 1 and, which is normally what a quarter note is, plus half. We have 1 and 2 and, which is an eighth note. We're on beat 3. So beat 3 and then we're back to 1. Same exact thing in this example. So the dots might be confusing you. The eighth notes might be confusing, but as long as you remember that 1 quarter beat is 1 and, you know that a dot adds half of the note value. So in this case, the dot added a full beat, right? Because half of a half note is 2 beats. And then half of 2 beats is 1 full beat, so 3 beats together. As long as you remember that, then everything else should be pretty easy to count for you.